Well, the local market closing 0.5% in the positive this afternoon. As we said, Bidvest up 15% on the day, but miners took a hit as China reported lower than expected growth forecasts at 5%. What could we do with that? Well, David Shapiro is with Sasfin, and just ahead of that cabinet reshuffle, 1823 on the rand. But David, thanks indeed for joining us. The JSE finishing the day in somewhat of a good position. But really, if you look at what's been happening globally, China is really what a lot of investors look to. That's perhaps why our miners are down, because of the demand for raw material. Just very quickly, what do you make of the market performance today, and what was driving it?
That's pretty solid. Miners had a very good day on Friday, so they came down today. And I think a little disappointment around China. I think they were expecting the target to be set by the Premier to be above 5%, which means they're not going, if it's only 5%, it means they're not going to stimulate. Therefore, I think there was a bit disappointment that perhaps it wouldn't translate into the demand for commodities. On the other hand, it's non-inflationary. And therefore, because of that, because it's non-inflationary, I think American markets are taking comfort from that, or global markets. And, there's not going to be the upward pressure, the demand pressure coming from China. So on one market we lost, the other we won. But, overall our market, I think, did pretty well today. We've seen some good numbers coming out from corporates, and that's providing a nice base for the JSE.
One of them, Bidvest, 15%, a whopping performance on the share price today. And when you're a diversified company, the way Bidvest is, you can navigate the challenges like power cuts. Good results from them, and as we said, a proxy for the South African economy as well.
They're in the services sector and doing very well. On the freight side, all their bulk minerals and, brought in a lot of money. And also you've got hospitality, the return to hospitality. So I think from leisure and hospitality did very well for them. But Devin, if you look at the business right across the board, there were very little weakness. In fact, no weakness at all. I think all companies performed. And it's been that kind of business, a solid management team, just been there for years. It's just a super business. If you put it with its previous company, Bidcore, who also came out with super results recently. I think a lot of value being added, from the former Bidvest group, or what was the combined group.
Yeah, and then you look at the other companies, more susceptible to power cuts. RCL, the food group that has Rainbow Chicken under their belt, profits falling 22%. And again, another food producer complaining about the power-related costs, isn't it?
Strangely enough, AVI did better than, say, RCL. Their results were also out today. But RCL got it in really on the chicken side, on the Rainbow side. It hurt. And I think that's where most of the losses were made. The other food divisions did reasonably well. But I think that was a side. And also the logistical side came under pressure. But disappointing result. The market didn't react too badly. They were only down slightly. But the food businesses are taking it. Devin, you've got to recover fixed costs. As soon as volumes fall and you can't produce, it has a major impact on your bottom line. So I think they're more vulnerable. The food producers are more vulnerable than the food retailers. Food retailers can pass it on. It's more difficult for the food producers. So AVI and RCL today, both coming out with slightly down results. I think in AVI's numbers, it was mainly the fish, mainly I&J. And that, as Sally was talking to you about, that was a direct impact, a direct hit from load shedding and higher fuel prices and higher costs.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the other side of the spectrum says. We'll be chatting to Peter Engelbrecht, the Shoprite CEO, tomorrow. They've got results. Before I let you go, David, so 7 o'clock, cabinet reshuffle. I'm just wondering, the people you speak to and yourselves, all these investors, do you watch that closely? And what does it matter to shares and investment, this ministerial placements?
It depends who they bring in, So far, it's just been a recycling of old names. And I think this is a country that needs a fresh approach to politics, to business. And yes, we'll be watching, and we want to see if there are any major changes, and if they are introducing some younger people. We haven't seen anything; we don't know, but it might have some impact. But I think we've got a long way to go.
All right, we'll leave it there. David Shapiro from Sasfin, thanks indeed for your time.